What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on Car Talks 100. Before I continue with the review, just wanted to shout out to everybody for supporting me, subscribing to me, having the engagement going on. Absolutely love it. Please continue to do so the channel keeps growing and I can bring a variety of cars, reach out to different dealers so we can cover multiple cars and then take requests from you folks in terms of the coverage and or what we can get to know about other cars. You help me in gaining more knowledge. I help you folks in bringing out these reviews and hopefully shed some light on some of the pieces you folks are wanting someone to showcase in a video. This brings me to the point of the 2024 Acura RDX A-SPEC Super Handling All-Wheel Drive. This is the full name of this on paper. This particular one being white, you will have to pay an additional $600 on all colors except silver for any Acura trim levels. This is not a CRV because it literally picks up where a CRV stops. So if we really compare or take into account the CRV, it stops somewhere around $40,000 for the sport touring, all-wheel drive, this, that. This one picks up at $41,000 with the front wheel. Then I think there's about $2,000 to $2,400 of a difference between the front wheel and then super handling on all trim levels. So this is basically taking you into a different realm, including what it offers under the hood, which is going to be a 2.0 liter VTEC turbocharged engine, 10-speed automatic, producing at around 272 horsepower, which then brings us to the fact that there is only one engine choice that is offered right now in all trim levels across the RDX, which goes like this. RDX being the base trim level, then you have the technology, then A-SPEC, which is this one, then you have the Advance, and then you have the A-SPEC and Advance, which combines the last two into a trim of its own. This is rather a trim level that I suppose and have seen most people go for just because of the sportiness that the car gives you. So as we go from, let's do a 360, and then we'll kind of go around to the front again and talk about what this car is still giving in 2024. And as you watch this and look at the car, does this interest you at all in considering a car that is this size in this segment with what it brings? You're really comparing this with, let's say, the Lexus NX. Also, if you want to bring the German rivals in there, you would bring this into the same basket as the BMW X3 and or the Audi Q3, Mercedes, GLC, I suppose. But really, Acura is just its own thing. I personally don't really compare Acura or Lexus with German. I've said this before too, because German is, that's German. So, but this on its own, it's a solid car for perhaps, the audience it's targeting. In the front, what we're looking at, we talked about what's under the hood already. This particular one obviously screams Acura in general because of the styling of this. We've seen this for quite some time, but we're talking about the typical, these days, the DRLs that integrate or, intertwine with your turn signals there. Below that, you have the typical Acura jeweled headlights, nice and clean looking teeth there, functional vents down below, and then the fog lights as well, along with the parking sensors. This being the A-SPEC model, two things you'll notice on the grille. The bezels are blacked out instead of chrome, and then you have the front-facing camera as well. And then down below, functional fish grill there for the cooling. And other than that, nothing crazy to mention outside of the pretty hood lines up top. So as you approach the car or the car approaches you, it gets more prominent and it does bring some substance to it. One thing that you get standard on all trim levels is the panoramic roof. And then what you don't get as standard would be the fog lights on two of the trim levels, which are the RDX itself as a trim, and then the second out, which is technology. Coming around to the side, these are 20-inch shark gray alloys, and then the other two trim levels, which are going to be your RDX and technology, have 19-inch. So if you want to enter the 20-inch, you would have to go into the A-SPEC models and up. The tire itself is 255/45 R20, so the rather thick sidewall is there too, and it's a Goodyear tire. Goodyear Eagle RSA is the tire. A-SPEC badging, This is really the only badge I don't hate in most of the cars, because the way they do their badging is really nice. I'm sorry because of the sun glare, but you can kind of see I do like how this is. Side mirrors, fully loaded when it comes to what it offers. You have the integrated turn signals. It's got the 360 there too. Heated, power folding. No chrome around the strips because this is, around the windows, because this is the A-Spec that matches the strip that runs below. The cladding is matte down here, which is fine because it takes a beating there. Overall, it's as I say, a solid side profile. It's been selling. People like how it is. Panoramic roof there. No roof rails, no bars there at all. But coming around to the back now, the first thing everybody notices, including me, or I don't know if you all do, but I do really, which I hate on any car that is still in production in 2024 that has incandescent turn signals or any element that is incandescent. I am not sure what's the cost of changing this or the what goes behind this to fix that or figure that out, but I think this is the very sad part. You're starting to pay $45,000 for these cars, and they're still giving you some incandescent. I don't approve that. But let me know if this pisses you off. It's something that you don't care, because this one person once said at a dealership when I was buying my car that, hey, you're sitting inside the car more than you're outside, so it doesn't matter what indicators or what kind of lights. It does kind of matter at times. Up top, you have the brake light mounted there. You've got your typical wiper. You have the backup camera with the washer fluid. The first time I saw this thing, I really liked it. I was like, this is so cool. But now I'm like, this is so annoying because, yeah, it washes this, but dirties the car. So, and sometimes these are the things like on the inside control-wise, you don't always know how to work them the first few times. So you always mess up. So you will have a dirty back if that's the case. Coming down below, you have very big circle exhaust, which are fake because the actual exhaust sits inside, which is okay. It gives the substance. You can see it's like a little circle and the big circle, but considering how thick and how big they are, I do like the back. I think that is probably the most substantial thing in the back of the RDX, which is the exhaust surrounding with the exhaust. And then you have the fig diffuser down below. No spare tire. I didn't look underneath. There is space, so I don't know if folks can, do it on their own, but there is no spare tire that you get with this. However, there is space that you can probably put at least a donut. With all seats up, as we go into the trunk, you get about somewhere around 28-ish cubic feet of space, and then with the second row down, you get somewhere around 58.9, so close to 60. You do have in the A-Spec model, you can lower the seats from here. With this, you can't obviously bring them up, but that's typically if this is a car for, let's say, a family of 4, 5, even 5, or if you're a solo driver for now, you probably will not really need to put them down every so often unless you're hauling something big. So the cargo space that it has is rather decent. You do have some underfloor storage here. My bag is down below, but there is this hook, but there's nothing to latch this onto. So I was like, why do they have that? But it's there. You've got some tie down hooks here. You've got a cubby there, but as you can see that there is no spare tire in this. To fold this down, you just simply pull the lever, and it just easily puts the seat down. So dead easy to do that. What I also like that you don't get in Honda that you get in Acura is the premiumness of covers here. So that's kind of cool. Otherwise, a standard trunk with your height adjustment there. And then that's pretty much it. As we go from here into the inside of the car, one thing that I do want to mention that if you go for the trim levels that are below A-Spec, this will not be the same finish as you get in an A-Spec or above, simply because this adds the ruggedness. All 4 doors will have the smart key entry, so you just simply put your hand behind that and get in there. Before we look at the door panel, here's a key fob, Acura emblem here under the sticker. Key fob, if we can zoom in, you got the remote start, lock, unlock, trunk, and then your panic. And then it doesn't feel substantial. It looks substantial. Let me just tell you that. To the door panel, love it, actually. It looks so beautiful. It's got the contrast. It's got these different swoops and designs and what have you. You've got injection molded plastic up here. Actually, this is leather. Yeah, it is injection molded. You've got the ultra suede here. You've got leather. Obviously, when you get from Honda to Acura, you get all auto up down for all four. So one touch, power folding mirrors, ELS sound system, which is 16 speakers there, and then a slanted cup holder there for your 500 ml. Nothing really else, or maybe you could put a rag here. And then this tiny little thing is your trunk opener. You have the kick plate here, A-SPEC on both sides. Could very well be a package. I didn't look at the sticker. We'll look at it together. Power seats on both sides with lumbar support on also both sides. Love the A-SPEC has aluminum pedal, and then the dead pedal is also the same as that. So that's a good thing. As we go in, you could see that now call it old school or call it easy access. I love how the sensing is all buttonized, so you don't have to go into the infotainment system to toggle between a few things here. But overall, I don't mind. There is a blank switch, which I'm assuming you'll get something if you go to the A-SPEC Advance or Advance in general. Your parking brake also sits here. That's how Acura does it instead of doing it in the center console. But as we jump in, before we do, here's a quick look at how the interior looks, which is very identical to other Acura, especially sharing with MDX. As we go in, turn the hazards off. Analog. So let's fire up the 2.0 liter engine there. Tilt and telescopic, not automatic. So it is not automatic, and there we go. It's, I don't know if I want to call it a bummer or not, but it's not automatic. You have this multimedia display, so MMD is in the middle. I'm having issues in, it simply says you push this to have things be changed, or you go up, down. This is not budging. It's supposed to. I don't know if this is a software issue in this car or what have you, but it's not recognizing all that well. But don't let you hold that. So make sure when you are, if you are buying one of these, to test out the controls for whatever car you're getting, just to make sure that it functions. I'm literally doing this and nothing is changing. I am rotating the dial. I'm also pushing it up, down. Let's turn the song off. I don't want any copyright issues here. But you have the analog dials. I don't like them in this day and age, but they don't look bad. Some people really are very neutral about it, so that's fine. It's traditional, it's digital in the middle. And then see, it just changed. Look how delayed this was. I don't like that. But nothing else to talk about there outside of how the steering is. This is a flat bottom steering, which is nice because this is the A-SPEC. You have the A-SPEC badging here, and then you have the heated steering wheel, which sits on the side. I do like how the 3 and 9s really have this cool quilting and grip. It feels nice when you're turning it. Otherwise, this is leather wrapped there. Your multimedia controls, useful or useless, they are here. And then your sensing sits here. This is where the heated button is, which I do like because they've enclosed this, but haven't put the button here, unlike how they do it in Hondas, where if you have a heated seat, or excuse me, heated steering wheel, the button would sit here. But this is nice. It's just funny how they decide to design cars, because clearly they can clean line everything in their lineup, be it Acura or be it Honda, but they just choose to make some things ugly, some things prettier. You do have a heads-up display in this car. You could see that right there at 0 miles per hour there, but that comes with the trim levels as you go up. Not a touchscreen. Obviously, none of the Acuras have a touchscreen. Right now, it's pushed far back, so that's their justification, but it's still not that far. You can still reach out to it. I'm only 5'9", so my arm length, if it can reach it in my position, majority of the folks driving here in North America can too. Down below, all buttons, so there's a button galore for everything. You do have, instead of like the MDX, unlike the MDX, you have 2 separate buttons for your up, down of the fan, unlike one toggle to do that. So this kind of tells you that, hey, this car is coming from, you know, the 2019 redesign, because now a lot has changed in either going back to some simple manual selections and or integrated in the infotainment screen, which I don't prefer, so I'm okay with this. Just tells you that this car is still coming from a while ago. Heated and ventilated both here. Then you have the engine start, stop, the traffic light stuff, your modes here. So if we go through the modes, you've got 4 different modes. No individual, but sport, normal, and comfort, and snow here. Then your button shifter for the Acura's is traditional, true touchpad to control your screen. It is truly very quick and fast and intuitive, but this will need some getting used to, if unless you're coming from an old Lexus where you're used to using the touchpad. But this something is just one too many things for you to control over, as opposed to not take your eyes off the road when you want to switch something other than that. And this is to rest your palm, but it's not like the MDX, so it's kind of it's you can't use this as a replacement of the shift knob if you are someone that rests their palm on the shift knob as you drive, which I am. If I go like this, I do like the substance of this lid, but what it reveals is rather small and kind of compartmentalized, which also makes me question and not understand why is one cup holder smaller than the other one. So in a car this size, both should be big enough and both should actually be square with better grips as opposed to round. But you can see this is more deep versus this one isn't. You have this kind of, a smaller cubby. So if you do have bigger phone and you put it up like sideways, you probably can't close the lid. And there's a USB-A there, so no USB-C here. But if you open this up, which reveals a very small but deep console here, also does not have the USB-Cs here. However, I forgot that there is this here, which has your outlet, the 12-volt socket here, and it does have the USB-C on the other side. So if we go from here, you could see there is a USB-C there, so maybe you could just, because you're never really going to use that wireless charger because it's useless. The phone will keep sliding. So you will plug your phone into there. Another useless space. This is one of the very few times I will open the glove box because it's worth opening because there's no storage. There's a button. There's this little thing where, let's say if you still someone that carries the manual, you shove that in here. There's not much space going on, so very useless there. But I do like the material here. So ultra suede there. You've got the injection molded plastic up here. Overall, very solid interior in quality and also in how it appears to be. You have no memory seats, unlike the MDX on passenger side, but you've got the Milano leather, nice bolsters, ultra suede in the middle, comfortable seats. You folks, if have seen Acuras, they've been doing the same kind of seats in there for a while now. Up top, you get the panoramic sunroof, which is standard on all trim levels, which is a nice thing. Here you get your standard plasticky sunshade holder. You have your SOS stuff and all those things up here standard. But then you have your visor, which is also incandescent lighting. So I hate that because you could kind of go into the elements of 2019 and tell that, hey, this car is dated, so in parts. But that is up to you to decide what is important and what is not. So maybe you can look past that. If I was in the market for this car, I might have not gotten it simply because it has more elements that I would consider to be dated. The backdoor thud isn't my favorite. Take a listen when you open it. I don't know. It's not so much about the closing, it's more so about the opening of that. Rear door doesn't open to a 90-degree, but it's a decent opening. I'd say you can fit rear-facing child seats easily, I'd say there too. But if you have an RDX and it gives you trouble, let me know in the comments below. The door panel, nice with everything that is in the front, carried over into the back. You have same idea of cup holders there. You could see that this is basically the back of the car. One thing that I do want to talk about that I don't like, again, be it the price, be it the luxury, be it what have you, these seats don't tilt. So hopefully when they do the redesign, they'll pick up from other manufacturers the fact that, you need to give reclining seats in a car that starts over $45,000, especially for this one stickering in at 53 or so. We'll talk about the price tag as I show you. Isofix covers dead easy for the car seats to get in. That seat's folded, but obviously it's a 5-row SUV there. Cup holders, nice and high, so that's decent, but they're positioned horizontal, not vertical. So it always hinders there. If we go ahead and put this up as I climb inside, what is, when it comes to the space, the power and air. So space-wise, 5'9", the seats push slightly back, I think. So this might be positioned at 5'11". This is how much you get. So not much under. So like the foot support isn't there, but overall it's not that bad. You have hard plastic on the seat back with map pockets on both. Acura does the airplane ones, so you can only really fit papers, because otherwise you would basically change the shape of how they would look. Vents here, no three zone climate control, but because it's not that big of a car. Vents here, 2 USB-Cs here. So one in the front, two in the back, and then a USB-A as well in the front. So power is decent. You can always buy longer cords to utilize these if there is someone in the front that also needs a USB-C along with the driver. Overall back, nothing crazy that you wouldn't expect to see here in what it offers. Standard leather seats, which is Milano, ultra suede here too. The quality in the back is also decent. There is generous space for the headroom, at least with the panel, but obviously this portion doesn't open. The front one does open, so kids will still enjoy it in the back seat as far as the space goes. But I think sitting 5 people in total, depending on their heights and size, could be difficult, but 4 will be just fine. There's nothing really else to mention in the back. As we wrap this around and talk about, is this car worth it? Is this not worth it? Hey, that's up to you to decide whether you want to go for an Acura, whether you want to go for an RDX. It's been the same thing since 2019. But overall, when it comes to the reliability and how it looks, standing alone, it looks like a good, handsome car. Certain colors make it look poppy, certain don't. I forgot to show you guys the backup camera. I am so sorry. Let's go back into that, because that is something that we need to talk about. So let's go back in and let's look at that real quick. So you could see how tiny that is. So I'm going to put the car in reverse. So there's 360, there's trajectory, but I think the real estate that you see the rear camera in is rather like maybe it's smaller than, like, it looks like a TomTom GPS from, I don't know, 2008 maybe. That's how small this is. So don't like that there is wasted dead space in which this could have expanded. You get 3 views, and this is also where, you know, you kind of get, oh, I want to switch the view, but then you got to come down to the trackpad. So a few things here and there are rather dated and needs to be worked on. So hopefully when Acura does redesign this completely, they will make those changes. All right. Now, as I was talking about, what's the verdict? I really have no verdict. If it's something that attracts you, go right ahead, test drive it, bring the Lexus in the mix as well, and then see if you also want to compare this with a German car. Overall, if we talk about the car as itself, like it said, standalone, it's a solid choice for like $41,000 if you just want to surpass the CR-V at the base, at the Touring, and then go into the base Acura RDX, you can, or maybe just wait until they do the redesign to see how much newer elements they bring into it. But do let me know if you have any questions about this. Shout out again to McGrath Acura of Westmont for lending me this car, and if you have any questions, please come check these guys out off of Ogden here in Westmont, Illinois, in the Chicagoland area. Again, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I will catch you folks in another video. Keep subscribing, keep engaging. Absolutely love it. Thank you all very much.